Hello everybody and welcome to Revisiting Disney. This is the series in which every episode I pick an attraction or a show or part of the Disney parks and I sort of play armchair Imagineer and talk about how I would change it up and replace it if I had to. And the cool thing is, now that I've been to Disneyland, I can finally revisit Disneyland attractions. So this week we are going to be revisiting a very classic attraction from the Disneyland parks, and it is the Matterhorn. Now, this was a very difficult one to revisit because it's such an iconic ride, both in its history, but just, the fact that it is, in my opinion, the most prominent and largest ride there. It seems like it is the most standout attraction. So it is the one that serves to change the theme of the park completely. And so that's why after much thinking, I realized, it's an obvious choice, right? All you have to do is build the little city of Arendelle at the bottom and put the little snow palace on top and then, retheme this to be a Frozen roller coaster, which I think is what everybody's doing Disney-wise today, and I think is the obvious choice. And what's that? Oh, sorry. I heard all of you screaming and groaning through the internet. So let me step back on that. No, I'm not going to revisit it to be a Frozen ride, although I thought that would be a really funny thing to throw out there because I'm sure plenty of people would love it. Actually, I did have one idea that I think is an easier idea for retheming the Matterhorn, and I did think of one that's a little more out there. The easier one, I think, involves not having to change the attraction much or the exterior or even, anything really. Really all you'd have to change are these little interludes while you're riding. Take out the Getty, right? Replace all these new animatronics and theme it around the Yodelberg episode of the new Mickey Mouse series. I think it's an obvious match, right? Yodelberg sort of takes place on this mountain. There are even references to the Matterhorn in the episode, so obviously that comparison was seen by the people at Disney as well. I think it would be cool because, we don't really have a lot of attractions that feature Mickey Mouse as a character, and I think it would be interesting to have one of those. And I also think it would be really cool to see life-size versions of those style of Disney characters. I'm a big fan of that new Mickey Mouse series, so I usually try to throw them into park ideas whenever I can because I would love to see it more in the parks. But I think that would be a very quick and easy change, right? I think it would be cheap. I think it would be probably the most realistic of the two ideas. Now, the second idea is a little more out there. It's more of a stretch. I don't know if this would ever really have a chance of happening. And it's rooted in this idea that I really struggled with thinking about ways to change the exterior, because the one thing that really blew me away when I was at Disney is how often you can see the Matterhorn from other parts of the park and how it doesn't break the immersion, because regardless of the area you're in, the Matterhorn just doesn't seem like a sore thumb. Like you're in Adventureland or you're in Frontierland and the idea of seeing a mountain on the horizon is not that crazy, or if you're in Fantasyland, it just doesn't seem out of place. Tomorrowland would arguably be the only area where it seems a little weird to have, but even then, not that much. And I couldn't think of another structure that would be so universally accepted in all those different lands. And then I thought, why not just partially change it? I wanted to do something futuristic because I love technology and I love the future, and I think this would be one way to add more of that into the park. If we annexed the Matterhorn into Tomorrowland and make a Tomorrowland-based ride. But now, go with me here. Here's the idea. For most of the Matterhorn mountain, leave it as it is. Leave it as a natural mountain. But on the Tomorrowland-facing side, put on, using, forced perspective and smaller buildings, this futuristic city alongside the mountain. And so that way, when you're in Tomorrowland looking at it, it just looks like a futuristic sci-fi city on a mountain, which makes it sort of blend in better with the land. And from any other land, it just still looks sort of like this normal, natural mountain. It would look normal in Adventureland, it'd look normal in Frontierland, so on and so forth. And then the ride itself, retheme that to be more Tomorrowland based. And I don't mean just like a generic sci-fi, but I mean actually based on the Tomorrowland movie with George Clooney. Now, I know the movie didn't feature any mountains or cities on mountains, but you got to take some, I think, creative liberties there. And I think it'd be cool to have a roller coaster because that is a very exciting, action-packed sci-fi movie. That is something where you'd want something very kinetic and something that will really bring life into you when you ride it, and you still have that steel tube coaster there, so that history would be preserved, but maybe, remove all of those, I guess I was calling them interludes, I don't know if that's what you'd call them, but remove those scenes again, pull out the Yeti, and replace them with scenes where, like, maybe you're on this crazy, floating car chase in Tomorrowland through the city that is perched on this mountaintop, and, use that to sort of extend the Tomorrowland universe. I know the movie wasn't amazing or anything, it didn't break any records. I don't even know if we're going to see a sequel to that one day, or if they're going to do anything with it in the parks, but I thought it was a cool enough movie. I would love to see them try something like that, because I don't think we've ever seen anything like that in the parks before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but something where the perception of an attraction or exterior is one way from one angle, but another from a completely different one, to suit the different lands that you can see it from. I think that's what really drove me here, is like, how can we change the outside yet still keep it acceptable throughout all the parks? And I think it'd be cool to, one, use force perspective in that way to keep it looking really, really neat, like using those tricks, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Use the tricks to continue to create that magic. And I think doing that with like this sci-fi section would be really neat. And I think it would be a cool way to refresh that and still keep its history. Anyway, that's my idea. Which idea of those was your favorite? Was it the Tomorrowland idea, or maybe the Yodelberg idea, or maybe you actually like the Frozen idea and you'd like to see a Frozen roller coaster? Let me know in the comments below, or if you hated them all, let me know in the comments below as well. I know this is like a classic ride and you think it shouldn't be touched, but what would you do if Disney was like, tomorrow we're gonna knock down the Matterhorn, what should we put in its place? What would your answer be? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Whatever you're doing, make the most of it, because it makes it that much better. And I hope to see you next time for the next episode of Revisiting Disney. Bye, everybody.